I always thought my life was finally settling into something good. I kept telling myself, Emma is the one. This time I won't lose anything. I walked into that private family dinner feeling proud, excited, ready to start a new life with her. I held her hand the whole time, smiling like a fool. But I swear I felt her hand shaking. My mom leaned toward me. Are you okay? You look nervous. I laughed. I'm fine. Just happy. Emma stood up suddenly. Her chair scraped the floor and everyone fell silent. I looked up at her, confused. Emma? What's wrong? Her voice cracked. I need to say something. Her father frowned. Emma, sit down. You're scaring everyone. No, she whispered. I can't hide it anymore. My heart dropped. Hide what? She looked directly at me, eyes full of tears. I'm pregnant. For a second I smiled like an idiot. That's great? Why didn't you? She cut me off with a whisper that felt like a knife. It's not yours. The room exploded with gasps. My mom covered her mouth. My dad stood up so fast his chair fell. Emma's mother shouted her name. I just sat there, frozen, staring at her like my brain couldn't translate the words. I swallowed. What did you say? It's not yours, she repeated. The father is. Her eyes shifted toward the end of the table. I followed her gaze. Lucas. He stood up, face pale. Listen, man, let me. Don't, I snapped. My voice didn't even sound like mine. Don't say a single word. Emma started crying harder. I'm sorry. It happened when you were busy with work and Lucas was. Stop. I pushed my chair back. The legs scraped the floor like a scream. Don't explain. Don't you dare explain. My mom grabbed my arm. Please talk to her. I pulled away. Talk? Mom, she was going to marry me while carrying someone else's child. Lucas stepped forward. I messed up. But I want to fix it. I laughed. Dark, empty, broken laughter. Fix it? Lucas, you took my fiancée. You took the life I was building. Emma reached for me. Please, I didn't want to hurt you. You destroyed me, I whispered. My father's voice boomed. Enough. Both of you have betrayed this family. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. Voices blurred. My chest felt tight like something inside me was collapsing. So I walked out. No shouting. No slamming doors. Just quiet steps as the life I loved burned behind me. Outside, in the cold night air, I whispered to myself, something in me just died. But then another voice rose inside me, colder, stronger. And something else just woke up. I didn't sleep for 2 days after Emma's confession. I stayed in my room, lights off, curtains closed, phone face down. Every time someone knocked, I pulled the blanket over my head and whispered, leave me alone. On the third morning, my mom knocked again. Daniel, sweetheart, please open the door. I don't want to talk, I said, my voice dry and cracked. Just 5 minutes, she begged. Please. I didn't move. I heard her sigh, then footsteps fading away. My dad tried next. Son, listen, we're here for you. I know, I muttered. But I can't face anyone right now. His voice softened. We're worried. I'll be fine, I lied. But nothing inside me felt fine. Everything felt ruined. My engagement, my trust, my dignity. The scene replayed in my mind. Emma trembling, Lucas staring at the floor, the words, I'm pregnant, echoing like a scream. My phone buzzed for the 10th time that morning. Emma again. I finally checked the screen. Please, Daniel. Please. We need to talk. I made a mistake. I was weak. I never stopped loving you. I blocked her. My chest burned and I whispered, you don't love someone while carrying another man's child. 10 minutes later, another message arrived from a different number. Lucas, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for things to happen the way they did. I threw my phone onto the bed. Coward, I muttered. Then another knock came. My little sister Anna. Daniel, can I come in? Please? Her voice cracked. I opened the door a little. She hugged me tight. You don't deserve this. You're the best person I know. I swallowed hard. Thanks. I hate them, she whispered. Both of them. I didn't answer. I couldn't. When she left, I sat on the floor staring at nothing. I felt empty, angry, ashamed. Every thought stabbed me. Around noon, my cousin Michael called. I ignored it the first time. Then the second. On the third, I picked up. What? I snapped. Daniel, you need to hear this, he said. I don't want updates about them. Tough, he replied. Emma's dad is furious. Richard is threatening to cut her off financially. He called her actions embarrassing the Hale name. I blinked. Cut her off. Yeah. And Lucas? He's posting cute couple pics like he didn't destroy your life. My stomach twisted. Of course he is. Michael sighed. Look, man, you didn't deserve any of this. No one deserves this, I whispered. He paused. Do you want me to come over? No. I just need time. After he hung up, my mind kept spinning. Richard Hale, Emma's rich, powerful father, had always treated me like family. Once, during a business dinner, he had leaned toward me and said, "You're the smartest one in the family. I trust you more than I trust my own kids." That sentence returned like a spark in darkness. They ruined me. But they were falling apart too. Emma's messages suddenly turned desperate. My dad is cutting me off. Please talk to me. I'm scared. I made a mistake. Please don't hate me. I stared at the screen, emotionless. A few months ago her voice could calm me. Now it only disgusted me. Then she sent one more message. I don't expect forgiveness. Just listen. I deleted it. My dad walked into my room then, ignoring my protests. Daniel, enough. You need to talk. I don't, I said. Yes, you do, he insisted. You can't lock yourself away forever. I'm trying to breathe, I whispered. Everything hurts. He sat beside me. She broke you. We get that. But don't break yourself too. His words stung because they were true. That night, I lay in bed thinking about everything. My shattered engagement, Lucas's betrayal, Richard's disappointment, the humiliation printed on every face at that dinner. Then a darker thought slipped in. Why should they walk away happy while I suffer? My heart thumped harder. Why should Lucas keep smiling? Why should Emma feel protected by the empire her family built? Why should her father trust me so blindly? I whispered to the ceiling, they destroyed me. My hands curled into fists. So I'll destroy the one thing they care about. The Hale empire, businesses, properties, investments. Richard trusted me with every detail. I closed my eyes, feeling something cold and powerful move through me. They took my life, I said softly. Now I'll take theirs. That sentence didn't feel wrong. It felt right. It felt like rebirth. A new version of me woke up in the darkness, calculating, silent, broken but sharp. Revenge wasn't just a thought. It was a plan. I sat across from Richard Hale in his private office, trying to hide the storm twisting inside my chest. He looked older than usual, tired, like Emma's confession had drained 10 years out of him. I wrapped my fingers together to keep my hands from shaking. I know you're hurting, he said quietly, and I wish I could change what she did. I forced myself to look him in the eyes. Why am I here, Richard? You didn't bring me just to apologize. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. You're right. I didn't. I need you to stay involved in the family business. The words hit me like a blow. Why would you want me? I'm the man your daughter betrayed. Doesn't that make things complicated? No, he replied. It makes things clearer. I let out a short, humorless breath. How so? He leaned forward. Because you are the only one in this family who doesn't break what he touches. For a moment I forgot how to breathe. That sentence cut deep, not because it hurt but because it lit up something dark inside me. Something sharp. Something awake. I lowered my voice. You trust me that much? I trust your mind, he answered. I trust your discipline. I trust your ability to stay steady when everyone else falls apart. Steady. If only he knew how wrong he was. Look, he said, I know Lucas hurt you. I know Emma hurt you even more. But the company needs you. I need you. I tilted my head. And your own children? He shook his head slowly. They aren't ready. They may never be. His words rolled around in my mind, mixing with anger, betrayal, and a strange sense of opportunity. I nodded slowly. If you want me to help, then I will. But don't expect me to pretend everything is fine. I'm not asking you to pretend, he said. I'm asking you to lead. For the next few weeks, I walked into Hale Enterprises with a face that looked calm and composed. Inside I was still bleeding. Still burning. Still trying to understand how the life I built with Emma had collapsed in one night. But no one saw that. No one saw the cracks. People greeted me with respect. Board members shook my hand. Secretaries smiled. And Richard introduced me everywhere as the man he trusted most. Every time he said it, I felt a twist in my stomach. A twist that reminded me of the night Emma broke me. One afternoon, Richard handed me a thick folder. These are internal reports, he said. Things I want you to review. I flipped through the pages. Financial projections. Debt structures. Shareholder conflicts. Hidden weaknesses. You're giving me a lot of access, I said quietly. I know, he replied. You've earned it. Earned it? Funny word. Because in my mind, another voice whispered. They ruined you. So ruin what they built. I forced myself to keep my face neutral. All right. I'll study everything. Good, he said with relief. The company is safest in your hands. He walked away, leaving me alone with hundreds of secrets. I whispered under my breath, safe? You don't even see what's coming. Over the next days, I attended high-level meetings. Richard introduced me to division heads, hotel operations, shipping logistics, tech development, real estate expansions. They all trusted me. They all listened to me. They all believed I was the loyal future son-in-law trying to help heal a wounded family. No one saw the truth. During one meeting, the CFO said, "You understand our systems better in a month than Lucas did in 2 years." I smiled lightly. Maybe he didn't try hard enough. A few people chuckled. No one knew the poison behind those words. At night, I sat in my room reading more internal documents, more confidential files, more weaknesses hiding under polished success. I whispered, "You thought I was broken. But you handed me the keys to your empire." Every page I read made things clearer. Every secret I learned sharpened my resolve. They thought I was healing. They thought I was getting better. They thought I was helping their family stand again. But I wasn't healing. I wasn't recovering. And I wasn't helping them stand. I was building something else. A plan. A quiet, patient storm. A future that didn't include Emma, Lucas, or anyone who believed I would stay down after they crushed me. I closed the files slowly, whispering the promise that had been growing since the night of her confession. I won't destroy you with anger. I'll destroy you with precision. I never imagined I'd walk into the Hale Empire with a calm face while carrying a storm inside me, but that became my new normal. Every step I took, every handshake I made, every polite smile, I knew what I was doing. I wasn't healing. I was preparing. "Welcome again, Ethan," one of the senior managers said as I walked into the conference room. "Richard said you'll be joining today's internal review." I nodded lightly. "Of course. I'm just here to understand how things work." Inside, I was already studying everything: faces, weaknesses, cracks. During the meeting, people complained openly. One board member sighed, "Richard never listens to half of us." Another added, "The losses are piling up. Something needs to change." I leaned back, pretending to be neutral. "Maybe you all just need better coordination," I said softly. But they looked at me like I had answers they'd been waiting for. After the meeting, one of the investors stopped me. "You know, Ethan, you think clearly. You don't panic. People notice that." "I appreciate it," I replied. What I didn't say was, "Good. Notice me. Trust me. Give me space to act." That night, I sat at my desk with documents spread around me. Financial reports. Internal conflicts. Employee complaints. Everything Richard trusted me with was turning into fuel for my growing fire. My phone vibrated. Emma. Again. I stared at her name for 3 seconds before hitting decline. Then came her message, "Please. I just need closure." I whispered, "Closure doesn't fix betrayal," and blocked her number again. While I was reading through another file, Richard walked into my office without knocking. "You're still here?" he asked. "Just working through some reports." He sighed heavily. "Ethan, things are getting harder. The board is restless. Investors are losing patience. I don't know how much longer I can." I stood up. "You don't need to tell me everything. I'm just helping where I can." He placed a hand on my shoulder. "No, you're doing more than helping. You're stabilizing things." I forced a small smile. "I'm doing my job." He nodded and walked out slowly. I could see the weight on him. The pressure. The cracks. And I knew those cracks would eventually break. The next day, I crossed paths with Lucas in the parking lot. His expression froze the moment he saw me. "Ethan, can we talk?" he muttered. "No," I said instantly. He swallowed. "Look, I know I messed up, but nothing." I stepped closer. "You stole my fiancée and stabbed me in the back. There's nothing left to say." He dropped his eyes. "I'm sorry." "You're sorry because life got hard," I replied. "Not because you regret what you did." He didn't deny it. That told me everything. Inside the office, whispers followed me. Is Ethan planning something? Why is he getting so much access? Does Richard trust him more than his own blood? Every time someone asked, I gave the same calm reply, "I'm just doing my job." But inside, I smiled at the thought that they had no idea what I was building. Late that evening, one of the analysts came to me nervously. "Sir, the internal debt reports you requested. These are confidential. Only top leadership usually sees them. That's why I asked, I said quietly. She hesitated. Are you trying to fix things? I met her eyes. I'm trying to understand things. She nodded and walked away, unaware that she had just handed me another weapon. Around midnight, I received a call from a board member. Ethan, he said, if someone like you were to take a bigger role here, several of us would support it. I kept my voice steady. That's not my goal. A lot. That may change, he replied before ending the call. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Piece by piece I was building something. Not with rage. Not with shouting. Not with revenge driven by heat. But with intelligence. The same intelligence Richard once praised. The same intelligence Emma and Lucas never respected. The same intelligence that would soon restructure everything they thought was theirs. I closed my laptop, whispering into the darkness. I won't destroy you through anger. I'll destroy you through brilliance. And the quiet storm inside me grew stronger. I watched the chain reaction unfold like a row of carefully set dominoes. Lucas had always been careless, arrogant with details, and I decided to let one small mistake slide unnoticed. Lucas, I asked casually during a meeting, did you double-check the Ortega investment files? He waved me off. Yeah, everything's fine, he said, his voice dripping with false confidence. I smiled politely, hiding the satisfaction that bubbled quietly inside me. By the next morning, that single oversight had cost him a major investor. His phone buzzed relentlessly. I overheard him muttering, "This can't be happening." I said nothing. I let him crash. Meanwhile, Emma's messages kept piling up. I can't believe what I've done. Lucas isn't the man I thought he was. I'm so sorry. I ignored every one of them, sliding my phone into a drawer where it would remain unanswered. I couldn't let my mind be pulled back into the chaos she had created. My calm exterior stayed intact, but my mind worked constantly. Every move she and Lucas made was another piece of the puzzle I was constructing. Rumors spread through the company. Employees whispered about Richard losing control. Board members exchanged nervous glances, uncertainty written on every face. During one tense meeting, a senior board member leaned forward and said, "Maybe it's time Michael takes temporary leadership. He's been reliable and precise." I leaned back in my chair, pretending to consider it. "I don't know if I'm ready," I said, carefully measured. "It's a big responsibility." Inside, though, I already had a plan. Every calculation, every strategy, every angle had been thought out. The empire was a living puzzle, and I was learning how to manipulate each piece. Lucas tried to act brave whenever our eyes met, but the guilt shone through like fire. I watched him crumble silently, and I felt a small, cold satisfaction. Emma, of course, couldn't stay away. She begged for a meeting, claiming she needed closure. I agreed, but I made sure my terms were clear. When she arrived, she sat across from me, trembling, her face pale and exhausted. "Please, just one meeting. I need to explain," she whispered, her voice shaking. I folded my hands on the table and stayed silent, letting her words hang in the air. "I made mistakes," she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. "The baby, it wasn't planned. Lucas, he betrayed me too. I didn't know what to do." I felt a flicker of sadness, a small echo of the past, but I shoved it aside immediately. I couldn't let weakness return. "You should have thought before betraying me," I said softly. My voice was steady, calm. She sobbed harder, but I refused to let it control me. "I don't need your excuses, Emma. I'm focused on what comes next." After she left, I returned to my office and let myself breathe. The empire was shifting beneath everyone's feet. Richard's health was wavering under stress, and Lucas's confidence had shattered completely. Board members whispered in corners, and I allowed myself the smallest smile. The storm I had created was precise, controlled. I wasn't destroying anyone out of anger, I was doing it with calculated intelligence. Another message from Emma appeared on my phone. I opened it briefly, long, desperate, pleading for forgiveness. I deleted it instantly. I didn't feel relief or victory, only control. Every misstep I had allowed, every domino I had tipped, had brought me to this moment. I was no longer the man who had been betrayed, humiliated, and left broken. I was the man in control. Soon, everyone, Emma, Lucas, even Richard, would realize just how much power I truly held. I would not rush them, not yet. I would let them stumble, watch them fall, and I would remain standing, patient and precise. This was no longer about revenge in the emotional sense. This was about reclaiming what they had tried to take from me: respect, authority, and the sense that I belonged at the top. I had been broken once, but now I was unbreakable. The board meeting ended, Lucas left sweating, Emma's world continued to unravel, and I stayed behind, reviewing the financial sheets, noting every weakness, every crack. One day soon I would strike decisively, but for now the quiet satisfaction of being in control was enough. I whispered to myself, they'll see, they'll all see. I sat in the boardroom, hands folded, eyes calm, while everyone around me shifted nervously. Michael, one board member began, are you ready to take the lead at least temporarily? I nodded slowly. I'll do my best, I said, my tone neutral. Inside, I already knew exactly what I was going to do. I didn't need their approval. I needed their attention, their trust, and their mistakes laid bare. Lucas stumbled into the room that morning, red-eyed and defensive. You can't just, he started, but I interrupted. Lucas checked the Ortega files again. Make sure everything is perfect this time. He clenched his jaw. It's fine. I don't need help. I smiled faintly. Good. Let's see how it goes. By the end of the week, his errors became public, and investors quietly began siding with me. I stayed calm while he fumed. Every misstep he made was a lesson in patience for me, a demonstration of what happens when arrogance outweighs caution. Then there was Emma. I didn't see her coming until she was standing outside my car, trembling, hands twisting at the hem of her coat. Michael, please, I have nowhere to go, she said, voice breaking. Her eyes were red, cheeks streaked with tears. I didn't flinch. You made your choices, I said softly. She dropped her gaze and let out a shaky sob, her body collapsing against the door. I watched in silence, letting the weight of her guilt settle where it belonged. I didn't need to say more. I didn't need to comfort her. The truth had a way of speaking louder than words ever could. Lucas tried his own confrontation shortly after. He showed up at my apartment, reeking of alcohol, slamming doors and yelling my name. You think you can just take everything? You stole my life. His words came fast, jagged. I let him vent, standing straight, calm, my eyes locking on his. You stole mine first, I replied evenly. His face contorted, anger and confusion mixing into a volatile storm. He swung at me, but my security team pulled him back, restraining him while I stayed motionless. I felt no fear, no rush of adrenaline, only the quiet satisfaction of knowing he had brought this chaos upon himself. The days that followed were surreal. Emma's parents confronted her at the mansion, their disappointment clear, their voices sharp. She had nowhere left to turn. Lucas's public reputation continued to crumble, every rumor, every failed investment adding weight to the collapse I had quietly orchestrated. I wasn't gloating, I wasn't savoring revenge. I was simply letting the consequences unfold, letting the truth do the work that anger could never achieve. Late at night, after the meetings, the calls, the board updates, I sat in my apartment overlooking the city lights. I held a glass of water, listening to the hum of the quiet streets below. I realized something profound: karma didn't have to roar. It didn't need fire or drama. It arrived as a whisper, a ripple, subtle but unstoppable. Emma had destroyed her own future with poor choices. Lucas had squandered his opportunities through arrogance and carelessness. Their fall wasn't mine to enforce, it was their own doing. I only opened the door for reality to walk through. Emma tried once more, sending long, desperate messages. Michael, please. I never meant. I ignored every word. I had no desire to respond. Every plea she sent reminded me of what I had survived, what I had refused to let break me. Lucas's drunken apologies came too, barely intelligible, full of blame and confusion. I didn't read them. I didn't need to. The world had already shown me the proof. They were dismantling themselves piece by piece, and I was still standing, calm, composed, and in control. That night, lying in bed, I thought about the strange irony of it all. I didn't need to destroy anything to feel victorious. I didn't need to yell or scream or lash out. The empire's chaos, the shattered trust, the ruined pride, these were all consequences of their own making. I only offered clarity, patience, and the willingness to step forward when no one else could. Karma had been quiet, almost gentle, like waves brushing against the shore, persistent, inevitable, and true. I closed my eyes, letting the silence envelop me. For the first time since that night of betrayal, I felt something akin to peace. Not relief, not happiness, just the calm knowledge that the world had balanced itself. I didn't celebrate and I didn't mourn. I simply breathed and knew that I had survived, that I had watched them destroy themselves, and that I had opened the door for truth. And truth, unlike anger, never fades. When Richard announced his medical leave, the boardroom fell into a tense silence. Then he looked at me and said, "Michael will act as CEO until I return." My pulse thudded in my ears. One board member leaned forward. I second that, she said. Another added, no objections here. One by one, every hand rose. Unanimous. My breath caught as Richard nodded toward the head chair. Sit, he said quietly. It's yours for now. I walked toward the chair slowly, almost cautiously, as if touching it too quickly would break some invisible rule. When I sat, the leather was colder than I expected. Richard gave me a tired smile. You earned this, he whispered before the meeting ended. As the room emptied, I stared at the table where I once sat as an outsider, Emma's fiancé, Lucas's cousin, the boy who was supposed to be part of the family, not the one leading its empire. My assistant knocked. Sir, the transition documents are ready. Bring them in, I said. My voice sounded steady even though inside something shifted, a quiet, powerful calm. During the first week, I met every department head. I want transparency, I told them. If something is broken, show me. If you need help, ask. If you're hiding anything, fix it before I find it. They exchanged nervous glances, but many looked relieved. I could see it in their shoulders, the way tension melted a little. Richard ruled with fear. Lucas tried ruling with ego. I chose discipline. Order. Fairness. At one meeting, an investor asked, "Are you planning major changes?" I replied, "I'm planning progress." He chuckled. Refreshing. Lucas used to say he planned dominance. That's why he failed, I said calmly. Every late night in Richard's office felt surreal. I reviewed documents, contracts, unpaid bills, broken partnerships, all the places where neglect and arrogance had seeped through. Fixing them didn't feel like revenge. It felt like cleansing a wound. Every positive report, every new investor, every rising graph was proof that intelligence, not anger, was my sharpest tool. One afternoon, my assistant hesitated at the door. "Someone's here to see you." "Who?" She swallowed. "Emma." My chest tightened for a moment, not with pain but with memory. "Send her in," I said. Emma entered quietly, holding a sleeping child against her shoulder. She looked smaller than I remembered, thinner, drained, fragile. Her eyes flickered around the office, taking in the success she once expected to share. "Hi," she whispered. I nodded. "Hi." She sat down slowly. "I don't want to bother you," she said, voice trembling. I needed to say something." I folded my hands. "Go ahead." "I don't expect forgiveness," she said, staring at her child. "I know I hurt you. I know I ruined everything. I didn't come to ask for anything. I came because you were always kind to me. Kinder than I deserved. And even after everything, you never tried to hurt me back." I breathed out slowly. "Emma, I don't hate you." She looked up sharply, eyes filling. "You don't?" "No," I said. "But we're walking different paths now. We're not the people we used to be." She wiped her cheek. "You became stronger. And you became a mother," I replied. "That's its own kind of strength." She laughed weakly. "You'd be a good father someday." "Maybe," I said. "When the time is right." She stood, adjusting the baby in her arms. "Thank you for letting me say this." "Take care of yourself, Emma," I said. She gave a small nod and left without looking back. When the door closed, I exhaled deeply. No anger. No bitterness. Just peace, quiet, steady peace I hadn't felt in years. Later that evening, as I reviewed another set of reports, Richard called. "How does it feel?" he asked. "Strange," I admitted. "But right." He chuckled weakly. "I knew you'd fit the role. You don't break what you touch, Michael. You build." After the call, I stood by the window watching the city lights stretch endlessly below. I didn't just take their empire. I transformed it. And somewhere along the way, without noticing, I transformed myself too. For the first time, the future didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a beginning. The sun was dipping behind the city skyline, painting the glass buildings in shades of orange and gold. I stood on the roof of the main corporate tower, the wind brushing my hair, the world spread below me like a puzzle I had finally solved. I let out a long breath, feeling its warmth on my face, thinking about everything that had led me here. Betrayal, heartbreak, humiliation. They had carved pieces of me away, yet what remained was something stronger. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out, seeing a message from Richard. "Michael, I can't thank you enough. You've saved the company. I am proud." I smiled faintly. No reply was needed. The acknowledgement was enough. Another message followed. It was from Emma. Her words were short, simple, and precise. "I hope you stay happy." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Those words felt distant, like echoes of a life I no longer belonged to. I closed my eyes, letting memories wash over me, the night of her confession, the empty apartment where Lucas had screamed at me, the boardroom where I quietly dismantled the empire they thought was untouchable. I didn't destroy them, I whispered to myself. They destroyed themselves. I only opened the door for truth. The weight of that realization settled in, comforting and heavy at the same time. Behind me, I could hear the soft murmur of voices from the building's upper floor. My parents had come to check on me. "You're quiet up here," my father said, his voice soft but steady. I turned slightly to see their faces framed in the fading light. My mother smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "You've grown so much," she said. "Stronger than we ever imagined." I shrugged, looking back at the horizon. "I didn't just take their empire," I murmured. "I rebuilt it. And in the process, I rebuilt myself." My father nodded. "It's not revenge that matters," he said. "It's what you choose to do after pain hits you." I let that sink in, feeling the truth in it resonate through my chest. A soft breeze carried the faint scent of the city below, a reminder of life moving on, indifferent to my struggles. Emma had left the world I had been a part of, and I had no desire to pull her back. I had wanted freedom, not vengeance. The empire had been a tool, a challenge, a lesson. And now the lesson was over. I thought about Lena, a friend who had guided me through smaller storms, a quiet light I had discovered in the chaos. She had no part in this final act, but her presence in my memory reminded me that life had more to offer than pain and revenge. There were moments of calm, laughter, and trust that waited for me if I chose them. "Do you ever think about them?" my mother asked softly, stepping closer. I shook my head. "I think about myself," I admitted. "About what I want, what I need, and who I've become." She placed a hand on my shoulder, steadying, reassuring. "That's all anyone could ask for," she said. Her words felt like a seal, like permission to finally close the last chapter. I looked down at the city, feeling a strange sense of lightness. The anger had faded. The bitterness had dissipated. What remained was clarity, a calm certainty that I was no longer defined by betrayal or loss. I whispered to myself, letting the wind carry it, "I choose myself." For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt the sun's warmth not as a reminder of what was lost, but as a promise of what was possible. I took a step back from the edge of the building, feeling solid, grounded, unshaken. The horizon wasn't an end, it was a beginning. A world of choices, of freedom, of moments yet to come. As the sky darkened and the lights of the city blinked to life below me, I smiled faintly. I didn't need forgiveness. I didn't need closure. I didn't need anyone to understand. I had found myself, and that was enough. I stepped away from the ledge, letting the wind follow me, letting the city embrace me, letting the night remind me that I had survived, that I had rebuilt, that I had chosen to walk into my life on my own terms. No ghosts, no regrets, no remnants of the past could hold me back now. I was whole. I was free. And I was ready. "This is my life now," I whispered to the empty sky. "I choose myself."